Oh, thanks. How would how does any of it actually help you in your own path and your own development as a soul, as a person? So it, right? How is a person zocher to anything? It's for your learning. It's for the sake of you learning something, right? So again, we're looking at the conception here that that God is the great teacher of our consciousness, right? He's not that our development of our mind, the development of our heart, the development of our actions, all of it, that's God is found within there too, primarily, meaning that's what drives events, the development of consciousness to a higher level, right? If we look at what he said, Shemala tator lamala min kol mala, meaning we could look at it in a different way, no, not literally, but lamala min kol mala, meaning it's that which raises us up, the Torah. It's that which is, because it sits at the top, when we engage it, it raises us up. And so we start to see that all events, all things that go on, both personally and globally, have to do with shaping the consciousness of the individual as well as the kind of humanity as a whole. And so God is seen in this context as almost an intimate teacher of people. And the Torah is the means by which we learn. This is now it gets really, the Zohar gets really wild there. Amar Rabbi Yehuda Tachazi ein b'chol laila v'laila she'eino ochez, this certain being, Sar hapanim kol nishmatan shel talmid chacham ha'oskim b'torah lishma umara otam lifnei HaKadosh Baruch Hu mamtinin malchei hasharet v'domamim milomar shira ad sheyitkanfu nafsho tzadikim mahem v'yizamru b'yachad lakel elyon. He says, here's an interesting idea. Come take a look at this. Every night, the head angel, I'm not going to say the name, even though if I did, it probably wouldn't make a difference because it's just me. But still, there's a name here of an angel that I don't want to say, called the interior minister. Sar Hapanim, right? Misrad Hapanim. No, he's the head of the Misrad Hapanimiyut, right? The Sar Hapanim, right? He takes all the souls of those who study, of Talmidei Chachamim, right? And again, if you study and learn, you're at least considered a student of the rabbis, which is what Talmid Chacham means, a student of the wise. If you're a person who learns, meaning you look at things and you want to learn from them, and you don't assume you know, then you're a Talmid Chacham. That's the primary thing, is if you're a person who feels to begin with, I don't know anything, and therefore, but I really don't know anything, and therefore I want to learn at any opportunity I have, you're a Talmid Chacham. You're a student of the wise. You're never wise. You're always a student of the wise, because wisdom is something, again, that unfolds forever. Right? The ha'oskim b'torah who learn for its own sake, right? The Mamar Baal Shem Tov, lishma is l'shem Hashem. They learn not for osher, not for kavod, not for orach yamim. They learn because of Hashem. They want to get in touch with the truth. Lishma. So this angel takes all those souls every night, and he shows them to God, presents them to God. And the angels wait, says the Zohar, and they're quiet, and they don't sing, they don't do their music, until all the souls of the righteous, right, come with them, and they all sing together to God. Lakel Elyon. Right? So the whole conception of knowledge and of learning, and has to do, again, it has to do with happiness. It has to be learning, has to be out of this creative happiness, out of music. It has to be connected with those things in life that are beautiful and enjoyable and happy and growing and going somewhere, right? Like the angels singing, right? So our learning, like the conscious part of it is words and ideas. The unconscious part of our learning is singing with the angels, right? That's the unconscious part of it, right? The subconscious. So at night, right, our souls are so to speak singing with the angels, right? If we're really learning, it's an interesting, really. A lot of times they say, Talmidei Chachamim, even their dreams, they're learning. They never stop learning. Even their dreams, they keep learning. What's so beautiful, so amazing about the Zohar here is that what it's saying is that the learning is part and parcel of the singing. That the singing to God, the beauty, the joy, the enjoyment, right, is the internal aspect of the learning.
How do you connect that with when you learn Musar or when you hear a shir from a rabbi that's a lot of tochacha, because that's not so happy and enjoy. It's more, okay, I need to fix this or
Don't listen to it.
That's a good question. Well, there's a great saying of Lubavitcher Rebbe Zatzal. He said an amazing thing. He said, if you look at the prophets, they said a lot of really harsh stuff, and in their time, most of them were totally beloved. Everyone really loved them. There's obviously some exceptions, but most of them, Yeshaya specifically, Yeshayahu, they were totally loved. And he said part of the reason is because on the inside, they were really, really, really good. They had absolutely no ego. All they wanted was to help the Jewish people with their entire. That's all they lived for, was to serve Hashem and help the Jewish people and help humanity, right? And of course, that's why their words reverberate forever in almost the entire world. And he says so. So he says he was actually in somewhat of an exchange with a rabbi. Who he found what the rabbi said distasteful. The rabbi was saying terrible things about why the Holocaust happened, and so the Rebbe, as it's all in his ultimate wisdom, told this rabbi, says, your words are distasteful because you're not on that level. It doesn't make me, even though you're saying with a prophet, when they said harsh things. A lot of times people heard the panemius, which was this great love for the Jewish people, and so the people were able to accept it. But sometimes when you hear someone speak and it's harsh, and you only hear the harshness, it's because the person is harsh. So anytime there's something harsh, again, it's not, obviously when people sometimes make mistakes, maybe they sometimes need to at least, like if someone's about to walk into a street, you're not going to be gentle when you grab them away from the street. But it's an extreme example. Extreme examples always kind of go out of the claw. That's the extreme example. So sometimes people need to be, hey, you're doing something wrong. They call it now an intervention. A person's, become a drug addict or whatever, and they need something stronger. But most of the time, that's not the case. It's I whatever. I hate to say it. I was in a shul one time, whatever, in my myriad travels. And the rabbi was like berating the kahal, and I'm looking at this kahal, and these people, they're tzaddikim. They're there. It was like a fast day or something, and they were all fasting. And I was thinking to myself, you got the wrong people. I mean, these people are beautiful. They're here. They're interested. They want to come closer, and you're like yelling at them, basically. And it made me. I was very upset. And I think that you've got to know. It's almost like you have to be really careful as a leader. If you're going to speak to people, you have to really, really be careful to give tochacha. You really, Rabbi Nachman says, most of the time tochacha is just like, it's almost like taking they basically take the old garbage and they wave it in front of the person. And so of course you feel like, that feels uncomfortable, because it's like your old garbage. What do you need old garbage for? So to give tochacha, actually Rabbi Akiva says, someone's calling me. Rabbi Akiva says, actually in in his time, he said he didn't know if there was anyone on the level to give tochacha to the Jewish people. Rabbi Kiva said. And Rabbi Nachman quotes it and says, well, Kol Shekain in our time. Right? And so then we look back and say, well, if in Rabbi Nachman's time, Kol Shekain,
But on the other
in our
hand,
time,
isn't it also true that different heights of souls can handle different kinds of criticism? I mean, Moses is always a perfect example of that. Like, how did Moses get so strongly punished for doing what, the kind of thing that's just a tiny fraction of a sin than we do all the time, every day? And it's like Hashem has different standards for different neshamas. I mean, yes, the klal itself, he's hoping, and in this parsha we start already learning about the klal, but like that, you are praying for each other and the whole Jewish people, but at the same time, it's like, it's sometimes you think, oh, well, I can go to that movie. Why not? Well, why not is because we are in general a kingdom of priests, and you are, wherever you're holding is not at a place where you should go to that movie. Do you know what I mean? It's like, everybody has their standards. I'm not saying that criticism, and I have a problem with Musar too. Actually, there's a great book out called Battle Plans by Sarah, by Riegler, and it's mostly for women, but it could be for men, by Riegler and Rebbetzin Heller, and it takes Musar, which I find sometimes yes, I should be more patient. Yes, I should be nicer. Yes, I should be, which I think is overwhelming and sometimes self-loathing a little bit sometimes. At least that's the way it feels to me. But it takes this stuff and it really gives it the love. It shows you the proportion and the balance and how to improve yourself and fight the Yetzer Hara, but without the sort of whipping feeling that you sometimes get with other.
Well, that might be also maybe partly with what you're talking about here, there's there's the idea of maybe looking for the trying to look for beauty, to be look to be around, and then there's maybe to see the beauty. So so maybe if we have the right eyes and the right ears to hear really what maybe what Ruth Dessler is saying, or any Musar giant, they're not, maybe, I don't know, but maybe they're really saying something that, just speak for myself, maybe I can't hear, maybe I'm not ready to hear that, because it goes back to what you're saying with the prophets. So it's what they're really saying is something so incredibly beautiful. Unfortunately, the way that the only way I can hear it is, what? No, it's not. I'm not on the level to hear. So what they're saying is beyond maybe, or maybe it's for a different set of ears. Maybe if we can see the beauty in the different approaches, it's really all saying the same thing. It's just saying in different ways. So not everybody can hear everything. Everything's beautiful. People have different ears. So maybe some ears need to hear something in a different way. It's really beautiful to them, and it makes them want to be closer to God in that such higher way. But maybe somebody else, they can't hear it that way, and they can only hear it this other way, But maybe, I don't know, I'm just because it's hard to believe that some of these really great rabbis would be out to hurt people. It's hard to believe. Maybe that's just my issue again. Maybe they want to hurt me. I don't know, but I think maybe they don't. Maybe they're talking to a certain time period, a certain crowd, a certain this, a certain that, and I'm not in that crowd.
Yeah,
That's
interesting. Yeah, that's very true.
So
That's interesting.
That's
I think what
very
you're
true.
describing is where our egos are holding. What are we able to hear and take in?
I think a lot of it too is where their egos are holding. I don't think any rabbi wants to go out to hurt someone.
Yeah.
But they could be yelling at you for a whole different reason that really has nothing to do with you.
But it's like the prophets, you read, if you just read some of this stuff, it's oh my gosh, when you stop already, it's it sounds
I know the prophets
horrible.
are scary.
Well, obviously, I'm not on the level to hear what he's really saying, and what you're saying is that that's, seeing the beauty instead of looking for the beauty, it's maybe two different things, I don't know.
But yeah, it's good.
Actually, what we call Musar today, the first books on Musar that appeared in Spain and South Italy, France, they were very positive.
Yes, exactly.
They
And so was
didn't
Rabbi
say
Zohar
that
too.
everybody's born in sin like Christians do.
Right.
They actually showed the path. Derech Hashem, Chovot HaLevavot, all those books. They showed the path how a person should develop. And maybe what's happening today is under European influence because if you go to church, they will pound you with how bad you are. Well, I actually never went to church. That's what I saw on TV.
I'm so with you on that.
2 weeks ago you said that there are certain Jewish aspects that are kind of mimicking.
Unfortunately, we've picked up,
Yeah.
in our long. I think it's a
That's a
brilliant
great
point.
I'd be interested in
Excellent,
hearing some of the
excellent, man.
names of the people who wrote them.
Great.
I'll give you a list of
Okay.
books that are worth reading.
Yeah.
The first one, it's actually Chovot HaLevavot.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Those are the
It's I think the earliest book on the path,
Very early. Yeah.
the way.
Path of the Just or
Yeah.
something.
Chovot
wrote it?
HaLevavot.
Bachia, yeah.
Yeah,
Bachia ibn Pekuda, yeah.
right.
Yeah. High.
It's actually
philosophy.
originally was
It's
written in
beautiful.
Arabic.
Yep.
Hidayatul Qulub. It's
Yeah.
interesting to read it.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. The whole tradition of Spain is unbelievable, and we have so much from Spain. So much of our great, the Rambam, the Ramban, Bachia.
Yeah.
I mean, Spain is a cornerstone of Jewish civilization, and one that's unfortunately it's one of the few European influences that had a lot of good in it. Let me say.
Didn't it kind of turn into Sephardic? Didn't this, kind of go off to the Arab
It was
country?
not actually European influence. It was Muslim influence.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's true. There was a very high tradition of philosophy and art and music and all sorts of interesting things. Absolutely. And Spain is a whole fascinating conception, and unfortunately we think of Spain only in terms of the Inquisition, which of course was Christian, which was awful and the most horrific event, one of the most horrific events in our history.
But actually, Inquisition began after they kicked all the Jews out.
Well, the official Inquisition, 100%, but the office of the Inquisition, I think that the conception of it is partially why they treated us so poorly before we left, and then why they kicked us out. It's actually strangely enough, it still exists.
Yeah,
It's really creepy. Anyway, we won't go there. But there are a couple things. There's a couple. There's an interesting story about the who was it? Was it the maybe it was the Tzemach Tzedek or was it the Midler Rebbe? I can't remember. The Alter Rebbe was away. Now he used to lane. He used to read the Torah, and it was one of the parashat dealing with the klalot that are in the Torah, and someone else was laning, and I think it was a Midler Rebbe. He was listening, and he was listening, and his eyes got wide, and he passed out. And they were very upset. They woke him up, and they said, "What's going on?" He said, "I never heard klalot before. I never heard curses. The way my father reads the Torah." Every curse, he reads it with the intention of the blessing it will be after Mashiach's come.
Oh.
And so I never knew there was such a thing as curses. I actually heard it in the almost literal intention of this person, and it's shocking. And it's not part of my understanding of Torah. I never heard such a thing. That's not what Torah is. It's so it's an amazing story. And it's interesting, right? It's another interesting, like in talking about intention and what the person's saying, and then how other people receive it. It's it's interesting subject to explore. The other thing is the Gemara says you should only learn from someone who's doma l'malachei sharetz. L'malachei sharet. You should only learn from someone who could be likened to an angel, right? We should all get up and leave probably, but
We like
but right, because we wouldn't ever learn anything. But meaning to say that there has to, and this actually relates quite interestingly to here, right? Because apparently, the real Talmidei Chachamim are those that sing on their subconscious. The subconscious is their singing with the angels, the most beautiful music, and the expression of that in the conscious world is their Torah. Right, so you shouldn't learn with someone unless they're Domer L'Malachei Sharet. Maybe that's a reference to this Zohar kind of, maybe it's a similar concept, right? That unless the Torah is an expression of this beautiful internal song to God, then you shouldn't learn from that, right? And subsequently we should, right? we should be hearing within reality and within our learning the music of the universe, the music of the angels, right? The Torah is not separate from this beautiful underpinnings of the one of my favorite recent words of reality. It shouldn't be separate from. Actually, it's an expression of our Torah, our ability to understand life and to learn and to become better people should be an expression of this beautiful song, this song that the angels are singing to God, and it should come about in almost like a natural way. I mean, we talk about the Geula, the redemption, and Mashiach coming. Unfortunately, we all take politics way too seriously, and we've couched everything in political terms. The 20th century is like the age of the politician. It's really scary. But really, the Geula is less about the political machinations of one country or another, and more about this beautiful emerging song that underlies reality, that comes out of reality, that's within all of us, right? And yet also connected to the highest levels of consciousness. And that's what the Zohar goes on. Shenemar hanitzanim niru ba'aretz elo oskim b'torah lishma. Right? They'll appear in the land, those who learn Torah lishma. Those who learn Torah for its own sake. Those who are connected to the song of Torah, to this underlying beauty that is the inner expression of Torah. Eita zamir higia, right? The time of singing has come. Azu eit lezamer leboram biyachad. It's the time when Mashiach comes that we'll sing together with the angels to God. This emerging song will come out, the song of reality. The kol hator nishma ba'artzin, and the voice of the turtle dove or of the Tor will be heard in our land. This is the head angel, meaning the angelic world, that this beauty, this unbelievable purity and love and wonderful kind of perception of things, we'll hear that in our land. That will be the basic way of being, and specifically ba'aretz in Eretz Yisrael, nishma ba'artzena, in our land, right? That's the voice that we'll start to hear. This voice of this very beautiful, very high, very wonderful thing starting to express itself in Eretz Yisrael. It's actually quite interesting. If you really look what's going on in Eretz Yisrael today, you can kind of see the beginnings of this. There are some very beautiful things going on. Again, you never know it from looking at CNN or Fox or whatever, but underneath there's a lot of real beauty going on in Eretz Yisrael, and I think it's partially what we're all attracted to. This is this angelic force is coming to gather together all the tzaddikim. Why? To sing. To sing Leyotzram b'chol laila v'laila shenemar. Yalzu chasidim bekavod yiranu al mishkosam. Mahu bekavod. Amar Yehuda, this is this certain angel. A little bit more. Are we going to have time? I think it died.
It's 10:35.
Oh, okay. So we're just about done. We'll just, I guess we'll finish there. Oh, it's so beautiful. It goes on. Okay, fine.
Just go another few minutes.
Well, no, we have things going on. Let's see. Yeah, so we'll end with that. It's a good place to end. That the conception of Mashiach, conception of Geula, is one of an emerging song, right? Mm-hmm. Of humanity singing with its, so to speak, angelic counterpart, right? Well, again, that we start to see the Torah again as really as a shirah, as a song, and that the inner aspect of Torah is this beautiful song that we sing together with the angels. And the outer aspect is the learning we do in this world. Okay.
Ooh, yeah.